Welcome back to what does fractional work look like for your organization and what's the steps to take forward. I'm Kelly Buboltz. I work with organizations to engage productivity and energy while preventing burnout. So this fractional work is super energizing to me because it's really focusing on the value adds that people can provide. It's not overwhelming your current workforce with things that they may not know a lot about and pushing them over the line. And it's taking us into the future of the modern day workforce in which we focus on outcomes instead of activities. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how do you manage and support a fractional worker. And I think the biggest hurdle that organizations will have is a lot of organizations don't even manage their current full-time workforce very well. They don't know what they're really working on, or the workers don't know what they're supposed to be working on. That's a common comment I get in programs is, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be working on. So a big step before we get into this fractional conversation that I want you to think about is, how are you even managing your current full-time workforce? And a great tool I want to highlight before we begin is My Talent Planner, because it's a one-stop solution where that strategy meets the talent, meets the execution. So your meetings, your action items, your owners, your due dates, and it's all in one system so that when you are talking about workforce, energy management, workforce workload, team workload, is everyone working towards strategic initiatives? It's all in one stop, and have leadership development plans right there in the system. So it's not something you do once a year, it's integrated in your operation. And then you have great accountability and follow up because there's owners and action items right in the system, right from the meetings that you're having. You assign people and it goes into their dashboard. So all that automated features and integration will create clarity and a sense of direction forward for your workforce. And so when we talk about workforce management, you have to get your current systems and operations in place into a nice flow of productivity and clarity, focusing on that productivity optimization before you can start adding other little pieces and nuggets into this that will actually make it more chaotic. Now, the cool thing about this is with My Talent Planner, you can add the fractional worker in there. So they might not have permissions like your other workers do, but they can still see these are the action items that I own, and these are the meeting notes, and this is the scope of the project, and look, we're behind or we're ahead. And they're integrated again into your operation through this software program. So I love that you can not have them as this outside person that only has little pieces of your culture and little pieces of your communication. They're in there with you so that everyone's aligned moving forward. That we have to get our current workforce managed correctly with clarity and communication and high trust and productivity optimization before we can start adding these fun little pieces of value adds, because it can get pretty chaotic if the current foundation of your workforce is already misaligned and scattered. So managing and supporting a fractional worker, you're going to be focusing a lot on virtual communication and engagement. So the point of fractional work is not only providing value add and expertise, but they want flexibility. I mean, that's why they went into it. Otherwise, they would just get a full-time job with all the benefits and the bonuses and things like that. They want the personal freedom and flexibility, and they're also working with multiple clients. So they might not be as available to come in office for 8 hours a day. So you want to work on, what does the virtual communication and engagement look like to this fractional worker? Sometimes it's meeting with them every week. Sometimes it's that department meeting, pulse check-in every week. What does that look like? And I would say more frequent, small, is better than a large meeting every 4 weeks, because that fractional worker, again, is not as integrated into your culture and communication and operations as maybe others who work there full time. So you want to make sure that you're rerouting and giving them support and not dragging them behind. Like, they're behind now on the project, they're behind on what they're working on because we haven't seen them for 4 weeks. So make sure that virtual communication and engagement is more frequent but smaller. We're not just going to fill time to fill time. Now, providing ongoing support is going to be important because, again, they can get dragged into other projects. These are very much value add type people, and so they're talented. These are your top talented people. And if people start seeing that, right, they're going to be like, oh, maybe Kelly can come to this meeting, and Kelly can help us with this, and Kelly can help us. So who's managing me to say, Kelly, no, that's not Like, you're very good at that, but like that's not in the scope of your fractional work. We have other workers to do that. Who is doing that? And I think when you get into fractional work, because they're so talented, you get a lot of finger pointing, like, oh, but Joey said that he could do that, and then Cindy said that they had time available. And who is over this fractional worker? Similar to an org structure, who is leading them? Like, if I was the fractional worker and I had an issue with something, who do I go to? And it should be really one person. When you get into matrix organizations and people who have two bosses, it's so messy. So say I'm a fractional worker in HR, but I'm also very good at training. And I don't know, the technical department is growing at a very fast pace. So they want me as a fractional worker to do strategic HR things, but also be the trainer for technical department. What time and percentage do you want me spending on both, between the both? And then who do I report to for both? And both those people better be talking before they talk to me. Have you ever had those situations where you kind of report to two people and they don't talk to each other? So this person's assigning all this, and this person's assigning all this, and it's way more than your hours that you can work. They need to be talking so that they can prioritize and align together according to the business strategy, according to initiatives that we're looking at right now. And then you go to talent and you go to execution. So I just want to reiterate that we create silos between departments because the silos at the top are not talking. So they need to talk, work this out, and then guess what? They're aligned in what we're going to take to talent, which includes fractional workers, and then how we're going to execute. So do you see where the My Talent Planner can kind of align everyone in one place so that we don't have these silos and side conversations that are going adrift on the trail? A really nice trail, a really nice adventure is everyone is on the same path forward. Now, so we're integrating them into communication and engagement virtually. We have ongoing support that's going really well. What is the feedback loops? So even though fractional workers aren't going to get, performance evaluations and merit increases, what is going to be the feedback loop, and are the people giving feedback trained to facilitate so? And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that are afraid of conflict. They're conflict averse. And when I even do like DISC, the work styles, there's two styles that are literally conflict aversion, that they will do anything that they can before they address conflict. So if my leader or people I have to report to are conflict adverse and I'm doing something that they don't want me to do, I'm going to keep doing it until I'm corrected. And so addressing that conflict in a healthy way, proactively, is going to deter a lot of headaches, is going to really keep this fractional worker focused on value add things and get them in the way that you want them to march. What I mean by that is if they're going way left field because that's maybe what their experiences was, but they just need to keep going this way, who's directing them, who's coaching them, who's guiding them that they need to come back? You're too far off trail. And getting really comfortable with that feedback and healthy conflict will keep from these like side aversions where you're just wasting time and money now on this fractional worker. So keeping them really aligned and on the right path will make sure that this is a success. And then what resources do you have in your organization that they can continuously learn? Certainly they're the expert in their field and they're providing value, but you probably have resources within your organization that they could benefit from. And it doesn't mean that you're giving them more than what you're paying for. It means that you want to continue using them. Fractional workers, a little bit longer assignments. What can you teach them that they can provide even more value once they know that? And so there's companies, I come from manufacturing, so there's a lot of suppliers that will provide training on their products and technical type of components. Can they get involved in that? Can they be part of the team training where someone's coming in for project management? Can they be part of that? Again, you're just making them more efficient within the fractional work that they're doing for your organization. So what resources do you have for continuous learning to include them in that's a value add? So don't just include them because you don't want to have that conflict conversation of like, you don't need to be involved with this right now. It's not really part of your fractional work. talk about that. Say it's not really part of your fractional work, but I have this other upcoming training on this product that I think you will find a huge value add, and it will be a value add back to us. So again, make sure it's aligned to your strategy. And being nice is great, but being respectful of people's time and the value that they can bring is even better. So focusing around continuous learning in which you're providing value to them and they're providing value back is a really good energy cycle that you want to get on. So managing and supporting your fractional workers really starts with how are you managing your full-time workers in your workforce. Feel free to contact me for a 30-day trial of my talent planner. You are going to love it. I think the favorite feature, well, two favorite features that I've heard from clients is the action items. You can see at any point how many action items people have on their list. And that's not like day-to-day stuff. That's more like initiatives and projects and things they're working on. Because then you can really see the distribution of workload and if it's aligned to strategy or not. So there's like a really nice cohesive flow in that. So action items, that section of the software is really brings a lot of clarity and communication. And then the meetings, because there's so much waste in meetings. There's meeting templates in there. It's all timed. Notes are right in there. They have AI features to take notes and highlights. You assign owners and action items and due dates right in that meeting, and then it integrates right into people's dashboards. No more like double duty work and no more like 15 minutes after a meeting, I'm booking the next meetings. I'm taking all the notes. I'm sending out the notes. I'm sending out owners and due dates and follow ups. It's irritating, isn't it? I am irritated just talking about it. So managing and supporting fractional work really starts at home base. How are you managing your current workforce? Let's connect to talk more on that. There's a lot of great resources and tools that you can do to make this trip at ease. The checkpoints don't have to be giant summits. It's just little baby bite-sized steps that you take year after year to move your workforce out of this chaos and exhaustion and back to excellence. And a new piece on this journey and this adventure is fractional work.